Mom murmured, "Don't envy your brother." I rose, unveiled $26,670 in bank transfers, and declared, "Then let him cover all the expenses." The evening my father teased that I'd never measure up to my brother, I set down my spoon and pulled out 4 years' worth of bank statements. That was when I realized the joke wasn't amusing. It was me. Hello, I'm Elias. At 26, I'm the eldest son, the dependable one. I'm the guy who keeps spare batteries and emergency cash in a plastic bag. I always pay my rent on time, in full. I show up early. At family gatherings, when chairs are scarce, I bring extras. If you asked my parents to describe me in one word, they'd say responsible. The second word. Quiet. My younger brother, Julian, is the opposite. His charm and dazzling grin make him the star of the show, even earning him free desserts from waitstaff. He's the one my parents rave about. A new gig, a shiny car, a connection to someone important. Julian's highlights dominate every family update. They say his success proves we're thriving as a unit, like it's a sacred mantra. I used to joke that Julian was the lead vocalist, and I was just the background harmony. By 20, I was working extra hours, fixing their internet, replacing bulbs, all while my parents' backs ached and Mom shouldn't have been climbing ladders. The humor stopped there. No one ever asked how I was holding up. Instead, they'd ask, "Who can I help?" 2 months ago, we gathered for Mom's birthday at their house. The scent of citrus cleaner and roasted chicken filled the air. Dad wore his finest collared shirt. Aunt Lillian fussed over flower vases, trying to make the place feel upscale. I brought a carrot cake from a bakery, Mom's favorite, with thick cream cheese frosting. Julian arrived late, offering only a grin and a story about almost meeting a tech mogul. That was his contribution. Everyone laughed as he sauntered in like he'd earned a trophy. We sat down. Mom opened gifts. A scarf from Aunt Lillian, a candle from Dad's colleague's wife, and then Julian's gift, silver earrings in a small box. "They're real," he said with a smirk. "Who paid?" He didn't say. Mom gasped as if he'd handed her the stars. Somehow I thought she'd thank me for the cake. My mistake. As I glanced at Dad, he topped off his wine and muttered, "Elias, you'll never match your brother." He laughed like it was a light-hearted jab. Even Mom chuckled. The table joined in. Julian's laugh was the loudest. To me, it wasn't funny. It was a statement. I set down my spoon. My face burned. Over the past year, I'd tracked 11 months of paying their electric bill when Dad's hours were cut, 31 gas refills when Mom's car needed a boost, 21 grocery payments when their fridge was bare, and your brother's between jobs. I counted them like heartbeats. Aunt Lillian, watching me, said I wasn't crying and told me not to be so sensitive. My perspective shifted. Mom broke the silence, whispering, "We just want you to aim higher." I reached for my water, my hand trembling slightly. I told myself to stay calm, head up, brush it off. I'm the peacemaker, don't disrupt that. Then Aunt Lillian glanced at Julian and said, "You're the real provider." Mom nodded faintly. Dad let out a soft chuckle. "He's the one we can count on." That word, count, hit me hard. It struck the part of me that memorizes account numbers, Wi-Fi passwords, and the exact filter for their fridge. The part that logs payment dates, transfers, and receipts. I fell silent. I cleared plates, wiped counters, and packed away leftovers. As I grabbed my coat, Mom hugged me tightly but avoided my gaze, whispering, "Don't envy your brother." Julian gave me a pat on the shoulder as I left. "Man, don't take it personally." The porch light flickered as I stood under it, keys in hand, listening to their laughter through the window. I remembered the Zelle transfer from earlier that day, $220 for groceries, sent without a second thought. Mom's text followed, "We love you. Bring napkins next time we're out." No emoji, no apology, just a list. I drove home quietly. I put the half-empty cake box in my fridge. On my couch, I stared at my digital folder of receipts, collected like a strange obsession. Green check marks. $80, $115, $400, $900. My vision blurred. The next morning, I replayed Dad's voicemail twice. "Hey, kid, don't be so dramatic, just family teasing." I didn't answer. Instead, I opened my banking app, scrolling mindlessly. That night, it hit me. I was the punchline. As I stared at a utility payment date, my phone lit up with a group chat notification. "Family dinner Sunday at 6. Mom added, "Don't forget." As I read it, something shifted inside me. Since I was 21, I'd been setting aside money. "The electric bill's high this month. Can you cover $135? I'll pay you back Friday," Dad said one January after a blizzard. He never did. In February, he asked again. "We're short on gas." Just until payday. In March, it was groceries. I was earning $17.50 an hour at a tech support desk. My studio apartment had a wobbly table and a couch from a Facebook deal. I was tight on cash, but I scraped together $50 here, $75 there. Helping felt right. I was earning trust, I told myself. By 22, it wasn't just spot us anymore, it was routine. $200 monthly for utilities. $80 for gas every third Sunday. Random Wednesdays, $40 to $100 for food. Over 4 years, it averaged $640 a month. Some months more, like $470 for new car tires or $350 for a broken water heater, with promises of we'll settle up later. Julian had his own emergencies. $200 for a certification exam. His landlord's a jerk, can you cover half his rent? He had a slow freelancing month. Julian was full of stories, I could handle every transfer. Repayment was never mentioned. It was assumed help, gratitude, and debt were unspoken in our family. My app logged it all, even if no one said it. Once, I tried setting a boundary. I told Mom I needed to rebuild my savings before sending more. She sighed heavily. We'll never ask again. That promise lasted 2 weeks. Her texts came with a heart and a grocery list. I sent the money, her voice, scared and pleading, just this once, knew how to open my wallet. I knew an empty fridge, too. It wasn't just money. It was time. I fixed their Wi-Fi after 3 YouTube tutorials, installed a thermostat, replaced a faucet. I drove Julian to interviews, edited his resume, let him use my address for packages, sneakers, a drone, a gaming headset. Dad teased my exhaustion. That's adulthood, kid, Aunt Lillian said. Families aren't balance sheets. But in our house, the balance sheet was in my pocket. The favoritism was clear. If Julian brought takeout once, Mom scolded him for a week. When I paid their electric bill for 2 months, she said, we all pitch in. I booked and paid for a Father's Day dinner for 4. Dad said, you didn't have to, then turned to Julian to ask about his big plans at a jobless startup. The rewriting of reality stung most. Last Thanksgiving, Aunt Lillian asked who fixed the water heater. Mom smiled at Julian. I checked my bank app under the table, $250 to the plumber. Our boy made it happen, she said. I stayed quiet. Avoiding drama is harder than it sounds. My own life was small. I wasn't drowning, but I skipped dinners with friends or delayed a bill because I sent $200 at 3 a.m. for urgent car insurance. I hit a savings cap. When coworkers planned a weekend trip, I said I was busy. I opted out. My spreadsheet was my companion. I thought they didn't know. Maybe they had a vague idea, but they knew. Julian texted, you're a lifesaver, man. I'll pay you back when my bonus hits. Mom said, you're so reliable, then added, since you're good with money. Dad called on payday to check in. They knew. The bonus became new shoes. 3 moments stood out. One Christmas, I gave Mom a weighted blanket. She hugged me like I'd handed her a dish towel. When Julian gave her a free spa voucher from a friend, she cried. That night, I found a note. Elias, can you Venmo $150? Rent's short. The second was my car's brakes. I had to choose, pay my mechanic or cover their $220 overdue electric bill. I paid theirs. 3 weeks later, Mom posted a restaurant photo on Facebook. Much-needed date night. I zoomed in on the wine glasses until they blurred. The third was the citrus cleaner night, with the you'll never match him, laughs, and the weight of count on crushing my chest. That night after their group chat pinned me about napkins, I scrolled back to my first transfer. $120, January 14, 2019. Just till Friday, it said. I added it all up. $26,670. I didn't count cash, gas, or the AC repair I put on my card. That's a car, a down payment, or a mattress big enough to sleep without waking at 3 a.m. in a panic. I considered printing the list. I thought about deleting the screenshots. I opted out. I made tea. I sat in silence trying to name the feeling, not anger. A hollow, drained sound like an empty well. Dad's voicemail said, family teasing. But I knew it wasn't a joke, it was a system. They were the storytellers, I was their pipeline. The next text came right on cue because systems keep running until someone stops them. Julian. Hey, you free, short $400 for rent. I'd ask Mom and Dad, but they're strapped. I'll pay you back, you're the best. He added a flex emoji. I stared at the screen. I typed, let me think, then deleted it. Days later, Mom texted with a smiley. Need you Sunday. Dad checked the bills, it's rough. Bring your wallet. I didn't reply. I took a day off work, opened a blank document, and listed every transfer, dates, amounts. 9 pages, printed, tucked into a cheap binder from the dollar store. I wasn't sure I'd use it, but I was done pretending this was invisible. Sunday brought heavy air like before a storm. I parked 2 houses down, prepared. I brought a bag with napkins inside. Never show up empty-handed. It's a sure way to start a fight. Dad opened the door like a gatekeeper. Mom had a stack of bills and a calculator on the table. Julian leaned on the counter, scrolling his phone. Mom broke the tension. We were just discussing our strategy. Great, I said, setting down the bag. Dad tapped the calculator. We've crunched the numbers. With inflation and rates, we need a family plan. Everyone chips in monthly until we're steady. Everyone? Julian echoed, avoiding my eyes. I pulled out the binder and placed it on the table. Before we plan, can we talk about the last 4 years? Mom's eyes widened. What's that? Receipts, I said. Money I've sent for utilities, groceries, car repairs, rent. I might have missed some. Dad's jaw tightened. Elias, now's not the time to play bookkeeper. It's exactly the time, I said. Mom reached for the binder, flipping pages, grumbling. Someone said, "What money? We never got a dime from you." The room went still. Not quiet reflection, mist clearing the fog of denial. I stayed calm. I slid my phone across the table. Open my bank app. The transfers are there, dates, notes. I can print statements if you want. Dad pushed it back like it was toxic. This is disrespectful. What's disrespectful is rewriting my life while asking for my wallet, I said. I've covered bills since 2019. I could list them, but you can read. Julian looked up. Man, why are you making this awkward? It's family. Exactly, I said. Family doesn't hide from truth when it's exposed. They say thank you. Mom's eyes widened. After all we've done, you're throwing money in our faces. I took a breath. I'm not throwing it. I'm owning it. You've leaned on me for years, called me reliable, then laughed about me being quiet while handing me the bill. I'm not quiet today. Dad leaned forward. What do you want? A trophy? Boundaries, I said. No more monthly transfers, no last-minute Venmos. If you need help, ask early and respect a no. Julian scoffed. Then let him pay everything, I said. Dad, if I'll never match my brother, let the star be the safety net. Mom snapped. How dare you pit brothers against each other? You did that long ago, I said, steady. The air felt heavy like gravity thickened. My voice didn't waver. I feared it would. It didn't. This isn't about settling scores, I said softer. It's about closure. Dad's jaw flexed. So you're cutting us off. I'm stopping a system that's drained me, I said. I'm not your bank, I'm your son. Mom stared at the binder. We never asked you to. You're exaggerating. Those were gifts. You love us. I do, I said. And loving you can't mean breaking myself financially or emotionally. Julian laughed sharply. Whatever, man. I slid the napkins across the counter, grabbed the binder, and headed for the door. Elias, Mom whispered, don't walk away. You can't just, I gripped the knob. I can't, and I am. The door closed like a period. My phone buzzed with 12 missed calls before I reached my car, then 18. By my apartment lot, 31. I set the phone face down on the counter and cooked pasta. I ate standing, staring at the binder like it was hazardous. By night, 47 unread messages. Mom, you're confused, come talk. Dad, you owe us a conversation. Aunt Lillian, money isn't everything, honey. Julian, you think this makes you a hero? I didn't reply. I muted notifications, cleaned the sink, and went to bed at 9:30. First time in months I slept 8 hours. Monday, the narrative machine kicked in. My cousin texted. Heard you lost it at dinner, you good? Grandma left a 2-minute voicemail groaning. Dad sent a group text about spoiled kids forgetting their roots with praying hands. Mom's Facebook status hinted at her kids' antics. I expected anger. The instant rewriting of history surprised me like a show airing with the wrong script. From we never asked to those were gifts to you never said it was hard. The messages shifted, slippery. I didn't plan to email them, but I screenshot every version so I wouldn't doubt my memory. At work, I made PDF backups of the binder. Then I did something small that felt huge. I opened my bank app and canceled 3 auto transfers, utilities, gas, groceries. When it asked, "Are you sure?" I confirmed. My chest felt light and exposed. Calls kept coming. Mom's voicemails swung from "we can start over" to tears to sounding like a call center rep. Julian sent a $400 Venmo request for rent. Dad reasoned, we're a team. Everyone does their part. So $300 monthly? I declined. He sent a question mark. I stayed silent. Midweek, Aunt Lillian invited me for coffee. No ambush, I swear, she said, hugging me with a powdery scent. Then her rehearsed speech. Don't burn bridges over a misunderstanding. What misunderstanding? I asked. She looked puzzled, then smiled like I was a child. You embarrassed your parents, they feel attacked. Numbers embarrassed them, I said. She sighed. You know your mom. She worries. She says you didn't tell her you were tracking. So gratitude only counts if I don't keep receipts? I said. Got it. Her eyes narrowed. You're being cruel. I'm being honest, I said, paid for my coffee, and left before her honesty turned sharp. By Friday, the tone shifted. Sunday family meeting group chat announced. I replied, I won't be there, before fear could rewrite my words. Dad, don't forget who raised you. Mom, you think you're above us now? Julian. Always been jealous, bro, sad? I muted it. I made a grocery list, berries, pasta, salmon, and yogurt I usually skip because it's not essential. I bought it, ate it with a spoon that fit my boundaries. Small changes followed. I set up a new savings transfer, same dates, same amounts. Seeing $300 hit my account on the first felt like unlocking a gate. I booked a long overdue dentist visit. I told a therapist, I need help separating guilt from duty. She said, that's a common night job. The urge to write a long letter with screenshots and I statements buzzed like a mosquito. I opted out. Explaining to people who refused to hear is performance art. I was done. The hurt lingered, surprised me. My silence and their finances didn't build the family I'd hoped for. I missed the family I'd imagined. Good memories wove through, Mom's soup when I was sick, Dad teaching me to change a tire, Julian and I laughing at dumb memes. Calling a tax payment love makes it easier to pay. The calls slowed after 2 weeks. The guilt didn't vanish but faded. The spin spread. Raising kids is tough when they forget your sacrifices, Mom posted. Some think it's all about money. A neighbor sent me the screenshot, comments flooding in. Julian posted an Instagram story, new sneakers, caption self-made. I nearly laughed. He added prayers, stay strong, and a quip about kids today. I started running again. My muscles needed release. 3rd mile, 4th. I listened to a podcast on boundaries. The host said, practice saying no without a paragraph. I tried in the mirror, no. It felt like a secret code. On the 3rd Sunday, I drove past my parents' house to the gas station for cash. Habit, I parked across the street, sat still. Through the window, I saw them at the table. My chair was empty, relief mixed with loss. I think that's pain. The next day, an unknown caller, Dad's colleague's wife, who gave Mom the candle. Your parents are struggling, could you? No, I said, silence. You didn't let me finish. I didn't need to, I said, ending the call. No venom, just a sentence. I was okay after. A week later, a collections agency emailed me. My parents' $312 debt, sent to me because my address was on an old form. A year ago, I'd have paid it quietly. I forwarded it to them, subject. This is your bill, not mine. I typed and deleted 20 versions of I'm not before Mom replied. Why are you so cruel? I closed my laptop, went for a run. When I got back, Julian's message. Be real, bro. You love lording this over us, always wanted to be the hero. Congrats, you win. Anger rose, sharp but controlled. I just wanted to be a son, I replied. He didn't respond. That night, I made a rule. No opening my bank app after 9 p.m., nothing there helps my family at 9 a.m. I set my phone across the room. Slept. Here's what I know now. I love them, but I won't fund their denial. Reliable doesn't mean doormat. I can say no without a paragraph and not ease everyone else's discomfort. When I'm drained, no one owes me. My savings don't owe me. I don't have to make others' lives easier at my expense. No more transfers. Not because I'm always angry, sometimes I am. I don't want them to suffer to justify it, not me. I'm done pretending nothing's wrong. I'll evaluate their requests case by case if they're clear, respectful, and in good faith. My boundaries aren't the problem, and I won't tolerate guilt trips or rewritten history. The binder's in my closet. I rarely look at it. It's not a trophy, it's proof I'm not crazy, a record. When doubt creeps in, I read a few lines, then close it. I can stop keeping score. The math is done. Mom and Dad still text sometimes. Dog photos. In all those years of helping, they never said thank you. They might never. That's their ledger. Mine's different now. I'm Elias. Reliable isn't the end of my story. Honoring myself is. I'm building a new system. Sunday mornings are for pancakes and runs. Savings hit my account on the 1st. On the 3rd Sunday, I call a friend, make plans, don't back out. I close the binder. It's not about revenge. One line I wish I'd heard at 21 sums it up. This is about closure. I swear to myself, I won't let anyone treat my love like a debt. Thank you for watching my story. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and press the bell icon. Stay tuned for more real-life stories, get more experiences.